Wild Bill, otherwise known as William Finley, was arrested at a Canadian airport for attempting to smuggle hate speech on his iPad. That's right, going to Canada with an electronic device with access to the internet, perhaps you could be detained too for having critical thoughts of Islam. Perhaps you aren't an advocate of gender theory, then guess what? You are also speaking hate speech now, according to Bill C-16. If you go to Canada with notes disagreeing with gender theory, you could possibly be arrested for smuggling hate speech. How about that, Canada? You managed to become more terrifying than the worst drug cartels in Mexico just on the grounds of your enforcement of ideology. Really, that is some good work, being more concerned for the supposed feelings of one group than the freedom of your entire people. Finley served as a Navy corpsman with the Marines before becoming a law enforcement officer, serving as both a deputy U.S. Marshal and deputy sheriff. This is a great insult to me, as this man has dedicated many years of his life in service of the United States, and he was given a fuck you by a supposed friendly neighboring country, Canada, a country that prides itself in treating everyone with respect. Canada, not your citizens, but your government. You can go fuck yourself. Justin from Canada owes Bill a personal apology. The security at this airport detained him for many hours and ended up confiscating his iPad on the basis of evidence. This iPad was being sent to forensic investigators, Bill claimed. The idea that the groups against free speech in Canada are so organized that they were able to reach an authoritative member of the security team at a local airport and convince them to detain someone and confiscate their property on the basis of possessing hate speech is downright dangerous. Possessing hate speech. Think about that for a second. This could set a loose precedent for what you could be arrested for. Do you think the average person has nothing but thoughts of love and positivity on their smartphone? The idea of purging hate is Orwellian, not that the government of Canada cares about that sort of thing after passing both M103 and C-16. At a certain point, people care more about tolerance than they do about the safety of their neighbors, citizens, and themselves. It is really sad that people cannot see bullying when it is done in the name of compassion. If you can be charged with crimes of hate speech for having notes or maybe even a website visit on your phone, can you imagine a single person that would be able to get through security unless they factory reset their phone? The idea of stopping hate propaganda has gone too far and is too one-sided. Hopefully this won't trickle down into America. I can only hope. But considering that the Supreme Court recently ruled unanimously that hate speech was protected by the First Amendment gives me a little bit of hope. The problem is that each person interprets hate speech differently, so it can be more loose for one person than it is for another person. This can mean that you could be breaking a law for one person and not breaking a law for another person, depending on a person's perspective. You can see how this makes things complicated, especially considering how sensitive some of these social justice warriors really are. The new tactic of censorship is to throw out accusations of hate speech in order to pit yourself against supposed haters and feel heroic. These oppressed people create groups that cannot be criticized, claiming that they are victims of a system that targets them. When said system buys into the guilt, they can then target people themselves that they consider racist, Islamophobic, transphobic, or otherwise problematic. All of this nonsense, these charades, are done in order to disincentivize people from asking questions. You wouldn't want to be hateful, would you? Well, that's all I got for this video, because I feel everything that needs to be said is fairly obvious to anyone that's been following this for so long. So I will leave a link in the description to Wild Bill's video, and I would encourage you to check it out, and there should have been an annotation/card as well at some point in the screen that you could click on that will take you to his video. And it's very worth watching. It's about 10 minutes long, and yeah, the idea of an American going somewhere to speak at a rally and being detained at the airport because you were in possession of hate speech, i.e. his notes for the speech, or excuse me, the speech given at the rally, is just absolutely ridiculous. And I couldn't be more ashamed of Canada right now.